The distress beacon had been transmitting for 3 cycles when Ambassador Terex finally received the response. His crystalline fingers trembled as he decoded the human message, his bioluminescent skin flickering with anxiety. The Valkyrie colony on Outpost Theta 9 was dying. Radiation storms from the nearby pulsar had destroyed their atmospheric shields, and their underground shelters were collapsing one by one. "We ask only for temporary sanctuary," Terex had transmitted across the void. "Our people are peaceful. We need shelter until rescue arrives." The human response was brief: coordinates received. Help inbound. ETA, 18 hours. 18 hours later, Terex stood at the settlement's edge, watching 3 massive vessels descend through the toxic orange sky. But these weren't evacuation ships. The lead vessel was a construction carrier, its hull scarred and industrial. Flanking it were a medical frigate, and Terex's biorhythms spiked in alarm, a gunship bristling with enough firepower to level a small moon. "They sent warriors," Elder Myrax whispered beside him, her voice crackling with fear. "We asked for shelter, and they sent death." The ships landed in a triangular formation, kicking up clouds of irradiated dust. Ramps descended, and humans emerged, dozens of them, moving with purposeful efficiency. They wore environment suits marked with symbols Terex didn't recognize: construction crews, medical personnel, and heavily armed soldiers. A broad-shouldered human approached, her face visible through her helmet's transparent faceplate. "Ambassador Terex? I'm Captain Maria Reeves, Terran Relief Corps. We got your message." "You brought weapons," Terex said, trying to keep the accusation from his tone. Reeves glanced back at the gunship, then returned her gaze to him. "We brought everything you need. Let's get your people to safety first. We can talk after." Before Terex could respond, the humans dispersed. The construction crews immediately began unloading massive prefabricated modules, shelter domes that could house hundreds. The medical teams moved toward the failing Valkyrie structures, scanning equipment in hand. And the soldiers formed a perimeter, their weapons trained outward at the desolate landscape. "Why do you need guards?" Terex demanded, following Reeves toward the construction site. "There's nothing here but us." "You said your shields failed 3 cycles ago," Reeves replied, not breaking stride. "That means every raider, slaver, and opportunist within 50 light-years knows you're vulnerable. We've already detected 4 unidentified ships on approach vectors. They weren't coming to help." The words hit Terex like a physical blow. In their desperation, the Valkyrie had broadcast their weakness to the entire sector. They had painted themselves as prey. "The gunship," he asked quietly, "will make sure those ships keep their distance," Reeves said firmly. "No one touches this colony while we're here." Over the next hours, Terex watched in amazement as the humans worked. The construction crews assembled 3 massive habitat domes with practiced precision, their machinery roaring against the howling wind. Each dome had reinforced shields, life support systems, and enough supplies for weeks. The medical teams moved through the Valkyrie survivors, treating radiation sickness, setting broken bones, and administering medications that were compatible with Valkyrie biology. They had done their research. Dr. James Chen, the lead medic, explained as he treated a young Valkyrie child. "We pulled your species' medical database from the Galactic Commons archive during transit. Synthesized what we could, brought broad-spectrum treatments for the rest." "You prepared all this in 18 hours? Terex asked, incredulous. Chen smiled tiredly. "This is what we do, Ambassador. Humans have been answering distress calls for 2 centuries. We've gotten pretty good at it." As night fell, such as it was on this radiation-scorched world, Terex stood with Reeves on a ridge overlooking the transformed settlement. The 3 domes glowed with warm light, and inside, Valkyrie families were settling into clean, safe spaces. The medical frigate's scanners swept continuously, monitoring everyone's health. And above them, the gunship orbited in silence, a watchful guardian. "4 ships approached our perimeter," Reeves reported, checking her datapad. 2 slavers, 1 salvage crew, and 1 we couldn't identify. When they saw the gunship's active weapons signature, all 4 altered course. They won't be back. I don't understand you humans, Terex admitted. You brought everything we needed, more than we needed. But you also brought overwhelming force. Are you protectors or conquerors? Reeves was quiet for a moment, gazing at the stars. There's an old human saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. We came hoping we just need to build you shelters and heal your sick. But we prepared for the reality that others might try to exploit your vulnerability. She turned to face him. We didn't bring the gunship to threaten you, Ambassador. We brought it to threaten anyone who would threaten you. But why? Terex pressed. We're strangers. We have nothing to offer in return. You asked for help, Reeves said simply. That's enough. Besides, we weren't always the ones with gunships and medical frigates. 300 years ago, humans were the ones sending distress calls. The Antarian collective answered. They didn't have to. We were primitive, resource poor, and frankly, not very impressive. But they came. Anyway. They taught us that the measure of a civilization isn't its weapons or wealth, it's whether it answers the call when someone needs help. She gestured toward the settlement. So when we heard your beacon, we sent builders because you needed shelter. We sent medics because you needed healing. And we sent a gunship because the universe has wolves, and sometimes kindness needs teeth. A communication alert chimed. One of the soldiers jogged over. Captain, the Valkyrie rescue fleet just dropped out of FTL. ETA, 6 hours. Reeves nodded. Good. Start preparing the handoff protocols. I want complete medical records and structural assessments ready for transfer. As the soldier departed, Terex felt something unfamiliar, a warmth that had nothing to do with the settlement's environmental systems. Thank you, Captain Reeves. When we asked for shelter, I feared. I didn't know what to expect. You expected someone to take advantage, Reeves said knowingly. And in most of the galaxy, that's probably a reasonable expectation. But humans learned a long time ago that civilization isn't about what you take, it's about what you give when you don't have to. She extended her hand, and Terex grasped it in the human gesture of goodwill. When your people tell this story, Reeves continued, tell them that humans came with builders, medics, and guns. Tell them we came with hope and preparation. Tell them that's what help looks like, not naive kindness, but capable compassion. As the human captain walked back toward her crew, Terex looked at his thriving colony, safe, healed, and protected. The humans had answered their call with exactly what they needed, even when they hadn't known to ask for it all. In the distance, the gunship's running lights swept across the stars, a silent promise, you are not alone. You are not forgotten. And while we're here, you are not prey. That, Terex realized, was what humanity meant by help.